also be able to create a state of peaceful mind. And that's where we go into the mental health aspect of it, because if we're not feeling at peace, then we won't be feeling happiness and joy. And thank you for, this sort of coming together of today, where everybody sort of shared expertise, where everyone can utilize the information and be able to make changes, positive changes in their lives if they need to, and a source, a resource where they can go to be able to find their careers, be able to create an immigration status for themselves that is legal, and be able to find that stability that they all need. But enough said from on my behalf. I would like to now turn it to all of you. Those of you who are attending, if you have any questions, I believe you are able to put it into the Q&A section of the bottom of your screen. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you might be even able to unmute yourself and verbalize your questions. So whatever works for you, please go ahead and do so. I know we do have two experts here who will be able to unmute you. If you put your hand up, we can also unmute you and have you ask your questions. We do have one question, but before we go into our questions from the audience, I have one question for you, Mariam, which I think a lot of us will have. Validation of global AI. How do you validate the accuracy of global AI visa matching engine, which is, I think, an essential question, an important question for everyone, because that's where we want to establish credibility with global AI and feel confident that it will bring us the success that we need.
Sure, great question. Actually, every day we check automatically all the sources to make sure that all the information are up to date, and then based on that, automatically the system will update itself. And at the same time, for the accuracy, we check the accuracy in different two aspects. One of them, make sure regarding using AI and AI agent to make sure all the data, information, analysis, and all the algorithm that we have check with AI, and we have lots of AI agents to secure all the accuracy. And at the same time, we have experts, more than 50 lawyers on the on Globally platform, to make sure that the information are accurate as well. Then we use AI and at the same time expert to make sure everything is correct.
Great. Thank you so much for your response. I do have a question. I'm not going to give out names, but there is a question. I will put out the question, and I believe one of the panelists will volunteer to answer the question given their background and their expertise. So question goes, given the current legal restrictions, is it still possible for Iranian physicians and researchers to obtain any type of visa such as J1 or H18? Or is this entirely impossible under the existing regulations? I believe, Dr. Kazemi, you would be the person to respond to that question. If you could unmute yourself, please. You cannot unmute yourself.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, restrictions are there, especially right now for Iranians. Of course, Iranians who have dual nationality, for example, they are a citizen of Iran and also they are a citizen of another country that is not subject to sanctions. As the administration puts sanctions on certain countries, including Iran, Afghanistan, and some other countries. But those who have dual nationality, they have a better chance. Another advantage for physicians, and the same thing with nurses, is that there is always visa available for them. Although it's more difficult to get, especially for physicians, because they need a petitioner. They need someone to sponsor them. That means could be a hospital, a medical center, or something like that. But at the same time, they need also licensing issue with the state of California or whichever state that they are going to be practicing in. So there are further hoops that they have to jump through. However, there is no restrictions as far as this type of visa is concerned. It's an EB, employment-based visa, and they can apply. There's going to be more documentation required and more scrutiny. But they can apply, and there is no restriction in that sense.
Oh, that's wonderful. Great. Thank you so much. So the next question is, hi, thank you for your time and explanation. I'm a pre-med student in my final year at UCLA, applying to medical school. I'm currently on a valid F1 visa. Is there any way I can get job sponsorship during OPT while also applying to medical schools and for immigration? Dr. Kazemi, I think.
Oh, sure, of course. You are on F visa. If F visa is student visa, you can basically change your status. For example, if you find an employer that could prove that they need you, and of course it's called EB, again, EB1, or EB3. Through they have to go through labor certification hoop, and they have to go through other few other requirements. But if you find a sponsor, they can sponsor you. And of course, as I mentioned, OPT is becoming more strict. There is more focus on it, and that's part of it because supposedly the administration wants employers to hire more U.S. citizens or LPR, green card holders, as opposed to foreign students. But F1 visa, if you are in that area and you go through the OPT, that employer that you are working with during your OPT period, they can go ahead and apply for you. But it's one of those very complex type of visas, and I would definitely recommend that you consult with those who have done it. But there is no restriction, at least so far.
Thank you,
And,
Dr. Go ahead.
And also, if I may add, in most campuses, they have immigration officers, and sometimes their title is foreign students advisor, and they can also help you a lot.
Thank you. Thank you to both of you. I have a question. I think a lot of people have this question, and I think it's from Mariam. How much is the cost of being able to use Globally AI and get what we need to get to and get a valid visa and maybe a job at the same time?
Sure. Regarding using the visa recommender system, the visa recommender system is completely free, and lots of information they can come, users can come, students can come and provide all the information by using the free visa recommender. And if they want to connect with the all thousands jobs, they should subscribe and pay about $15 per month, and anytime they can cancel it. But regarding using the information and visa recommender system is completely free for them.
Okay, and then if they do go into deeper and applying and going through the process, then is it based on the sort of potential requirements and the extension, how far the visa program goes, or what kind of visa they're getting? Is it based on that?
Yes, definitely. They can see the process, the requirements, the how can I boost my chance by My Success Chance, and all of the information are there. Connecting with the lawyers is available as well. And once they want to reach them, they should, go a little deeper, step by step. It's a kind of very easy, friendly kind of platform.
And is all this information on the website available to the users?
Yes, they can use it and walk through the platform very easily. It's a kind of very user-friendly platform.
Thank you. I believe we have a question for Judge Tabador. How do your experts predict the movement in the backlog for green card applications for I-4085 in the coming months? Any significant change we can expect at the beginning of the fiscal 2026 year? Either Dr. Kazemi or Judge Tabador, I'm not sure.
Well,
I mean,
I defer to Judge.
Well, I can start, and Dr. Kazemi, please jump in. So 485 adjustments can be family-based or employment-based. And for the employment-based, they have to be adjudicated within the fiscal year, or the employment numbers are going to be lost. When we were, when I was there, we used up every last bit of the visas that were allocated for the fiscal year because we didn't want any of them to be lost. I don't think that's going to happen for this fiscal year. So to the extent your question is about the employment-based visas, I don't expect them to all be used. For the family-based one, it depends on what kind of priority they're going to be putting it on. We are starting to see already within the first quarter major increases in backlogs for them. It's hard to predict the exact additional time frame that it's going to take for the adjustment applications, because it's still relatively early on in the administration. But even within that first quarter, when we were looking at the numbers, we saw like up to 25% increase for some of the benefit lines. I know that's.
Is there any way they can speed it up? Is there any process where they can, pay more?
I think one of the questions I saw was about the national interest waivers. Under certain circumstances for national interest waiver, there's a premium processing. So I think it's something close to $3,000 that you can pay for premium processing, and that it puts the agency on a clock of about 10 business days, 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I forgot the exact time, but that's premium processing. But expect that there's going to maybe trigger request for evidence, or there's going to be scrutiny paid to it. It's the other way, as I mentioned, is that if the application has been pending significantly outside of quote unquote processing times for that benefit line, people have litigated, which is they brought a lawsuit against the government arguing that the government needs to adjudicate the application. It's called the writ of mandamus. And the government then has to answer what is it doing, or be responsive to how are they managing that benefit line. And I think that's an area that I've been talking a lot with different people to kind of explain that may end up being sort of the only available tool at this time, since there's really no oversight and there's no internal oversight. They got rid of basically the ombudsman. Congressional inquiries are not being really answered. There's no internal, really effective inspector generals. So it may end up getting to a litigation format, which is essentially what we're seeing on a lot of different fronts too. I don't know, Dr. Kazemi, did you have anything to add on that?
Well, as Judge mentioned, there are right now, in terms of application, but depending on the type of visa, for example, H-1B applications only accepted on the beginning of April of each year, and for the time being, there are only 65,000 visas issued annually, and 20,000 reserved for those who are graduated from U.S. institutions. And for the past few years, the number of applications are perhaps around like 250, 300,000. It goes into lottery. So if they miss that, then they have to wait for another year until they can submit their applications. But other types of applications, like EB-3 labor certification, or as Judge mentioned, NIW, which is a subcategory, They are available, but we expect requests for evidence and more documents and so forth. So if you are going in that direction, expect delays, and delay always has been an integral component of immigration system in the U.S.
Thank you so much, both of you. That was very informative. We do also want to make sure that our students are asking their questions as well, and coming into global AI and using tools for job searches, for visa searches, for opportunities, because ultimately, really, that's one of the major goals of global AI, to be able to provide those services for students at the universities that we're currently working with. Again, we thank you for being here from UCI, CSU, and USC, and we would really love to hear from you as well. I believe there are a couple people who would like to be unmuted to be able to ask their questions. Is that a possibility for us to be able to do that? I believe they hand their hand up. I think Ghazali is one of them. Is it possible to unmute her and have her ask her question verbally?
Hi, is it okay to ask my question?
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much for the information. So I have 2 or 3 questions. Currently, I'm on OPT visa and it will expire the first round, January 26. You know that because my major is STEM, so I can extend it 2 more years. I want to know if they want to do any changes, apply any changes. Is it going to apply to people who are currently on OPT, or no, they may put a new law and say, okay, from now on, people can't apply for OPT. Next question I have is that currently I could find permanent job that the company is governmental company and it's E-Verify. But because I just started, I don't know how long is it polite to, I mean, how long I should work and then start asking my manager. Because you said every April I have chance to ask the company apply for H-1B visa for me. So I don't know, should I work 6 months and then mention this, or is it okay to just mention it now for not wasting my time? And the last one is about Globally AI that I want to know, is there any training video like 15 minutes or 20 minutes to show us step by step how we enter our information to get that free visa information? Thank you.
Wow, a lot of questions. So
Yeah.
thank you. Dr. Kazemi?
Sure. It's as far as the first question is concerned, whether new policy is going to be retroactive or not. Frankly, we don't know. One of the constants in this administration is that we don't know. They make a decision, but most of the times policies and new policies, they are not retroactive. That means as of the date of enactment of that particular policy, they move forward. But again, that's very hard to say at this point. As far as asking your employer, my recommendation always being that it's better to stay with that employer for 2 reasons. One, whether you want to stay with that employer in a longer period, and at the same time, you want to show that that you are not jumping from one employer to another, and also the issue of that whether you have to work for a certain time, that depends on employer. They might require you to work for a certain period before you get that they call it, mobility, and you move to another type of visa. But if you are graduated from U.S. institutions, which it seems that you are, H-1B has, as I mentioned, 20,000 reserved for graduates of the U.S. institutions. And I defer to Judge.
I ditto, Dr. Kazemi. You're never going to know. These are called civil matters. If they want to make it retroactive, they can make it retroactive. Even if they make it effective, they can sort of say effective now for all. So you just never know. And the one thing I do want to emphasize that I've been hearing is that there's been such pressure on the agencies to basically act in an enforcement fashion. we're now seeing that in cases where people had pending applications that were timely filed before the expiration of their visas, and traditionally the timely filing then protected them until the agency adjudicated it, they're still going ahead and issuing NTAs and putting people in immigration court proceedings. So taking enforcement action, or ICE is picking them up and arguing that just because you have an application pending is not enough. So we're starting to see that tension because the enforcement arm has become so predominant in their goals.
Thank you so much. And then I think, Mariam, can you answer the last question in regards to a practice training video or some sort of informational video where they can, it would be user-friendly to use the Global AI platform?
Sure, definitely. Great question. Actually, let me share my screen again and show you how you can utilize Globally very easily. As you can see, this is a hero page and you have two different options. One of them is just for for a kind of quick demo. You can use the 30-second quiz that once you click on that, you will redirect to this one. And easily you can, if you want to apply from another countries for the first visa, you can use the new visa. But as you are now in US, you can use the change visa and check how you can use the quick visa check, and then based on that you will receive the all the visas that are match with you, all the visa sponsored jobs, and all the lawyers that they can provide services for you. And if you want to go deeply and you have time, and you can start the 5 minutes form to receive the real data, real information, real visa type, and all the information deeply. My suggestion is at least consider 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, sit and fill the form. The product design based on product led. I'm sure if you start, you can use these three main features as I showed you here. You can see the visa types, and then easily you can find the jobs, and then you can find the lawyers in 3 steps. Very, very easy. And even you can find the demo video here in the the bottom of the landing page, globally.ai.
Okay, so there's so many different options and places to go to familiarize yourself with the platform. Thank you so much, Mariam.
Excuse me, may I also ask my question verbally?
I was just going to get to you, Mahtab.
Thank you so much.
Of
I
course,
just
go
wrote it
ahead.
down, but I thought like maybe explain it verbally would help you guys to understand what my question is. So thank you again for this session. I really, really appreciate it. It really helped and it was really practical. However, I've been reading from websites that the H-1B visa will go through a big change. I know I'm aware of like how H-1B visa worked before. I know that it's like a lottery system and there's nothing it doesn't have anything involved in it except the chance, except the luck. But I've heard that with the new president, President Trump actually mentioned that we're going to kind of have some changes for that. And if somebody is getting more salaries, for example, like above 80K annually, their chance would be higher to get the green card or H-1 visa in the first round. However, I'm not sure if this is like completely true or it's been settled or they're still discussing it. I've just heard that. So that's why I wanted to make sure that if this is real or it's a fake news. Also, I wanted to know, like, as Judge Tabodor was talking, some people, they are kind of filing their H-1B visa or green card in a process. It was processed while they were having a valid visa. But during like the pending process, for example, if someone doesn't have the student visa, if their student visa gets expired, would they be able to stay in the US because they filed their like all of their documents on time, or they want to go back to their country, or they can actually pursue another graduate level? Like, what is the situation here? Because the employer applied for H-1B visa for that person. Will they be able to go back to school while they're kind of in the middle of the process? Their documents is in the middle of the process. I would appreciate if someone could clarify these questions, and thank you so much again.
I'm not sure who can answer those questions.
Well, can I give it a try? Normally, one does not keep all the eggs in one basket. And if you have already applied for H-1B or any other type of visa, and it's in the process, we should not take that for granted. If you are a student, you're graduating from undergrad, immediately apply for the graduate program. You can always, once the whole thing is, your status changed and you are doing fine, you can either continue or just quit the next stage of the education that you have entered into. Because the trick is you have to stay legal at all times. So there should not be any gap. And my recommendation always for undergrad students, say that, apply for graduate school and make sure that you are on the safe side.
So that means they can transition, because there was a question in regards to that also in the questions, that if a student is finishing their degree, their undergrad, can they apply for graduate school without applying?
Yes,
okay.
And yes, they should. They should have all documents, everything prepared. The minute the registration opens up for the next stage, if it is BS or BA, when the stage is open for MA or MS or BS, just move it and register and carry on. And that way, as long as you are in F1 visa in this country and you are taking as an undergrad 15 credit units and as a graduate 9 credit unit, you are considered to be a full-time student, and as such, you are safe.
Can I clarify myself real quick? I am a graduate level student. I just finished my school, and I'm on the OPT STEM visa right now, currently. And my question was that right now I am working for an employer, and I want to ask them to be kind of my sponsor. But the question is that I don't have much time left. I only have like 1 year left. So if during this process, if they open a file for me for like H-1B or green card, and my like in the middle of the process, my student visa gets expired, what is the situation then? Can I stay? Because like I'm pending, or should I go back to school and pursue a PhD or another master's degree? That was my question.
I don't know if anybody can really specifically answer those specific questions for you, Mehtab, because unless anybody wants to volunteer, but we don't want to get too personal with the questions, because you really need to see a lawyer, speak to that lawyer one-on-one. At least they need to have your background. But if anybody has an answer for Mehtab.
I think I answered Mahtab's question very clearly. Definitely, if you can, if you have completed or you're just about completing your master program, if you can find a PhD program, carry on, or if not another master, so that you stay on the thing. Typically, I'm not an attorney, judge, or Dr. Kazmi can answer that question, but to my understanding, as long as it's been filed, everything is good. I don't think that, you know, they will kick the person out while the case is pending. That is the question which I think Dr. Kazmi or judge can answer to that.
Thank
I
you
just-
so much.
The only thing I was going to comment on was your question about the H-1B, and there has been a lot of conversation, or there's been a lot of talk about sort of changing the requirements or giving it weighted, I guess, approach to the H-1B for the positions that pay higher. So I would not be surprised that before the next round that type of rule is going to be introduced. But at this point, I'm not aware of it having been introduced.
Okay, thank you so much. And then we have one more question. We would like to thank Globally AI for endorsing this webinar this evening. I keep on forgetting to mention that, so we appreciate that the sponsorship is taking place. But I have a question for Mariam. How many people have utilized Globally AI thus far? Do you have a number for us so that you can sort of encourage more of us to be using it?
Sure, definitely. About 2 months ago, we had a kind of soft launch for Globally, and we have more than 6,000 active users, and more than 50 verified immigration lawyers on the platform right now, and more than 10,000 verified visa-sponsored job active available.
So since we are on that question, where do the thousands of visa-sponsored jobs come from? Employers, APIs, or in-house sourcing?
Most of them from APIs.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. There is a question, I think it's a very general question that a lot of people might have, so I'm just going to ask it. Is it safe to leave and re-enter the US with a green card these days?
If
I
you're,
think a lot of people have concerns about that.
yeah. I mean, if you have any blemish on your record, anything, I don't know. My general thought these days is unless you really have to and there's no other options, I wouldn't recommend leaving the country if you have plans to return. But maybe Dr. Kazmi, you have different.
What if you're a
experience.
U.S. citizen? Are you safe as a U.S.
Well,
citizen?
I understood the question to be related to sort of the immigrant population.
Mhm.
Theoretically, U.S. citizens should be able to travel and return. So we haven't seen that as much yet. We've seen some examples of citizens being stopped and their phones being searched and harassed, or extensive questioning, particularly those who were in the advocacy world or in journalism or counsel. We've seen, we've heard instances of that. Perhaps people who are who've traveled to Middle East countries, there may be some questioning and some sort of secondary inspection. We've heard about that. I just think for everybody else, what we have seen is all the norm is no longer the norm. So I don't think there's anything that we can say with any degree of certainty in terms of, oh, you should be fine.
Thank you so much, Judge. I think there is another verbal question from, I believe, Sarah. Is that true? I don't see a hand. Maybe I'm
Yes.
missing something.
Can
Yes, go
I
ahead.
speak? Thank you so
course.
much for the session. I just wanting to ask you about the NIW. The typical of most of Iranian students is that they file their NIW by their journal papers and the number of their citation. I just wanted to know, are there any other possible solution for a graduate student inside the United States, I mean master student, to file their NIW, except for publication and citation? Thank you.
One thing is, NIWs, again, that's a new sea of change that we see also. For the past few months, we have seen denial of NIW is skyrocket. Is in the past, we file it, and most of the times they ask for more documentation and so forth. But nowadays, the rate of denial is very high. So if you are filing for NIW, make sure that all your documentations are on roll. Make sure that everything goes at the same time, so you don't get RFE, request for evidence, on top of everything else. This norm that is happening right now. So my recommendation is just make sure that all your documentations, whatever you can provide. Sometimes it's better to provide more documentations than less, and then you receive some kind of request for evidence that not only would delay the process, but also they might pick on one of those documents and so forth, so deny. Again, in my practice, I always say, give a full package, the package that goes out, especially on the employment base. Make sure everything is in there if possible. And of course, there's always possibility of getting requests for more documentations, but at least what is required at the core, you should provide.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kazemi. I think we have another few minutes left. If you don't mind, I will pick another question out of all the questions that are being asked. Some of the questions have been answered along the way. That's why we're not picking them particularly. But so let's see. If someone has been out of the country for more than 2 years and they have a green card, should they be taking a chance of entering the country again, or could their green card be taken away from them?
I mean, generally 6 months. Is after 6 months, it subjects you to being considered sort of an applicant for admission. After 1 year, I believe, in terms of travel document, it's going to be difficult. You would have to seek. So if I would certainly, before trying, they may not let you on the plane. So you need to sort of work to see, to request sort of the ability to be able to come back, because there's going to be an assumption of some sort of abandonment of the resident status. So I think, 2 years is definitely beyond the norm that would be considered acceptable without further inquiry. So I would definitely expect that they either will not let you on the plane, or if you make it to the border, that you're going to be subject to some sort of, removal proceedings or enforcement action, unless you have some solid representation and like documents to say, well, what happened? Like, were you in a coma for the past 23 months? Was there something that prevented you from returning? And Dr. Kazemi, I imagine you may have some examples of people who've been able to overcome
You're
that.
absolutely right, Judge. And if you look at it from a policy, that's not a bad policy. The fact is that a green card is a permanent visa, and like any other type of visa, you got to maintain a condition for keeping it. One of the conditions is that, or the main condition is that you must be a resident of the United States. Residency means that your domicile, your place of living, must be in the United States. You cannot use a green card as a tourist visa. And that is not new. I'm sure it's being enforced more strictly right now. but even during previous administrations. If the person is outside the country for more than a year, and as Judge indicated, there is no valid justification. There is no, for example, doctor would not authorize the person to fly. Or during pandemic, we had that type of situation. Other than that, they are going to have a hard time entering the U.S. In the past, we had they sometimes at the border, at the port of entry, they would take the green card and send the person to they call deferred inspection, which is like a supervisory part of the DHS. And then you have to justify what happened, why you didn't come in. So my recommendation is, first, if you have a green card holder and you don't have to leave the country, do not leave the country. Do not take the risk, especially for those who want to travel to certain societies, certain countries like Iran, like Afghanistan, Pakistan, you know, those countries subject to sanctions. And secondly, if you leave the country and you are a green card holder, make sure you get back on time. The other sometimes mistakes that some make is, for example, they go on every 6 months, they come in and stay here for 2 months, then they go back and then come back less than 6 months. Then when it comes to applying for naturalization, that issue becomes a major issue for denial. Right now, we have individual applicants who have been denied naturalization because in the 5 years period, they missed 5 days. They are short 5 days in a 5-year period. So you got to be also take responsibility and remember that despite all these policies and all these restrictions, immigration policies, they need to be also respected and performed in accordance with the regulations.
Thank you, Dr. Kazemi. I believe we are close to our 8 o'clock ending time. I would like to thank all of our panelists for being here, all our participants, attendees for being here, all the wonderful questions. I apologize if we didn't get to answer your questions, but we would like to provide this opportunity at a later time to maybe do this again, depending on Ms. Etminan. But
Yes,
before we
yes.
leave tonight, I would like to see if any of you would like to make a statement, a closing statement before we say goodnight to everyone. Well, I'm sure.
Maybe I can make a quick thing. Those folks that they are concerned about their status, it is better to memorize their own immigration attorney's phone number. Memorized, number one. Number two, those they are going to make a overseas travel, they better, you know, if in case they have stuff in their cell phone, they better leave the cell phone at home and go without it or get another temporary cell phone while they are abroad. So these are the type of precautionary measures that the folks need to be considered.
Thank you, Dr. Karkia.
And I would like to add that because of the summer season, we decided to hold this webinar online, but based on the request that we receive, we will have next sessions in different areas. For example, in LA, one in person, the other one is around San Diego, and the other one around Northern California in near future.
Thank you, Ms. Etminan. Thank you, Mariam. Thank you, everyone. Dr. Kazemi, Judge Tabador, Commissioner Dr. Karkia, and everyone who was involved in putting this program together. Thank you, Globally AI, for sponsoring this webinar. And thank you for having me and giving me the privilege to be here, to be present and being engaged and involved with you.
Thank
Have
you
a
to
wonderful
everyone.
evening.
Thank you, everybody. Have a
Thank
good
Thank you.
night.
Night. Bye-bye.
Right.